Welcome to the Michigan Man Podcast on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew, for Wolverine fans from coast to coast. Go Blue and welcome to this month's Michigan Man Extra. I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. We all know the story of Chad Carr and are familiar with the work of the Chad Tough Foundation to raise awareness in the war on DIPG and all other pediatric brain tumors. In just a moment, we'll be joined by Tammi Carr. She'll bring us up to speed on the efforts of the foundation and even let us know how we can help with the cause. First, a few news and notes before Tammi joins us. John Beilein got his contract extension. It was announced yesterday that he signed a new deal that rolls over each April. In effect, it keeps him here for the remainder of his career. Good news for all of us. On the football field, all is quiet, but not for long. In just over 2 weeks, practice starts, and our attention will turn to what will be a pivotal season for Jim Harbaugh and his program. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that when we begin our previews in August. But today we take some time to discuss a heartbreaking and serious topic: pediatric brain tumors, specifically DIPG, the cancer that took Chad Carr at such a young age. His mom, Tammi Carr, is up next to talk about a big year for the Chad Tough Foundation and how we can all help. Here on the Michigan Man on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew. Back with us on this month's Extra to discuss the wonderful work and big news surrounding the Chad Tough Foundation is Tammi Carr. Tammi, great to have you back with us.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Well, all of our listeners, Michigan fans, know Chad's story and are aware of the foundation's mission to raise awareness of pediatric brain tumors, specifically DIPG. For those of our listeners, though, Tammi, who really aren't familiar with what DIPG is, can you give us an overview?
DIPG is a brain tumor that resides in the brain stem. What makes it so difficult to treat is it is, one, diffuse, so it is not a solid tumor, and it lives within the healthy cells in that brain stem. So it's impossible to remove it because the brain stem obviously controls everything, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So the obstacle is trying to find the right medications and then also trying to get them past the blood-brain barrier into that brain stem. So it is the most difficult pediatric brain tumor to treat. And as I've said before, pediatric brain tumors are the leading cause of cancer death in kids. So it's a real big it's a very big problem, not just DIPG, but brain tumors in general have become, second to only accidents when it comes to things killing our kids.
Well, on the Chad Tough website, I read that rare is that most dreaded word when loved ones receive a DIPG diagnosis or a brain tumor diagnosis. On average, how many cases of DIPG are diagnosed each year in the U.S., and what is the average age?
It's interesting because, they say it's about 300 to 400 cases annually, but it's seeming those numbers, they're checking those numbers. I was talking to Carl Koshman recently at the University of Michigan, and the CDC is really looking into some things because it seems like, the numbers are rising. But that's not official. So, but the CDC is looking into those numbers, and because that hasn't been tested in a long time. The average survival rate is about 9 to 12 months, and generally, I say, because it's not, there are adults who actually get DIPG, but generally it's kids under the age of 12.
Well, Tammi, when my cousin's daughter, Jalen Iman, over in Windsor, was diagnosed with DIPG, she was 9 years old and right across the river again in Windsor, Ontario. That's about 5 years before Chad's diagnosis. One of the things I think that shocked all of us in the family was that treatment for her was the same as it was, I think, way back in the 60s, and to this day. I don't understand why, but that's very true, isn't it, Tammi?
Oh, it would. That was the thing that shocked us the most, and that's the thing that really, the Chad Tough Foundation is. It wasn't like we said we have to do this. We or I'm sorry, we want to do this. This is not, us saying we really want to do this. But when we found that fact out, that, the same protocol, Chad received the same protocol that Neil Armstrong's, daughter received 60 years ago, that makes no sense to me. And it's just not fair because, you can call it rare, but when you look at every year, that number of children dying, for sure, every year, the years lost is insane. And so that's why we started the Chad Tough Foundation, because we said this is not okay and somebody needs to do something. And, the momentum is shifting, and there are things happening that are making progress. And, this is not going to be, this isn't going to happen overnight. This is a very hard tumor, but the scientists feel the momentum, they feel the excitement, and they believe that they will now find a cure during their lifetime. They wouldn't have said that 5 years ago.
Well, thankfully, the battle to beat and raise awareness, understand DIPG has changed dramatically in just the last 2 years, in large part because of your mission and the Chad Tough Foundation, which this spring received pledges totaling near $30 million to establish the Chad Carr Brain Tumor Center at the University of Michigan. Talk about that amazing news, Tammi.
We've been working with Michigan, since day one. So part of our mission is to fund DIPG where it's happening the best, where the best research that's happening all across this country. But we also really wanted to work to, Michigan should be one of the best places. The best and the brightest are here. And kids who are diagnosed, at least in this state and in this region, they should know they've got a place to go where they're going to get the best treatment and where the scientists are going to be up on the most out-of-the-box ideas, and that's what we wanted. And when Chad was diagnosed, Michigan wasn't that. And so we said, we want to help you to get there. So we've been helping them to fundraise for that $30 million. So that money has come into Michigan directly, and we've been helping them fundraise for it. So it was very exciting to us when Chad's name, was put on the center, and we're really thrilled about what potential lies ahead. This is just the beginning. I mean, there's a lot more that needs to happen. They're busy recruiting scientists, and really $30 million was our initial number. We have big goals beyond that as well. Again, this is becoming somewhat of an epidemic, these pediatric brain tumors. And this center is not just about DIPG. Chad Tough will be funding DIPG at the center, but this center is going to impact all pediatric brain tumors.
Will this make the University of Michigan, Tammi, the leaders in DIPG and pediatric brain tumor research?
I wouldn't say that it's going to happen overnight, but I believe that with the resources and the dedication and the focus that they are now in this area, they are already in the mix. And I believe that they are on the way. Now, one thing I will say, though, too, is we do not believe that, these problems are going to be solved in the walls of one institution. So a big push with this center is collaboration. And the doctors and the researchers are fantastic about collaborating. When you've got a disease like DIPG that is rare, you have to share. You have to collaborate. You don't want to duplicate effort, especially when there is not federal funding. So that's been a big push with us, is to encourage collaboration. So Michigan is a big part of this, but they are wonderful collaborators with different institutions around the country and world.
Well, I know raising awareness and research dollars are the key in all of this. Will the center in Chad's name be purely research right now or initially, or is treatment going to be included with that?
They're still ironing things out, but what I believe is happening is that anything clinical, any trials, any care will happen within this center. So it is. We didn't put the word research in there because it's going to go beyond that.
Well, I know in November it's going to be 3 years since Chad's passing, and you and Jason and so many others have worked tirelessly in this battle. In these almost 3 years, are you encouraged by what you've seen in the way of progress and treatment for DIPG patients?
We really are, honestly. There's things that have happened that couldn't have been done just 3 years ago, and we wish that they were available for Chad. But we're inspired to know that he is changing the world. He is inspiring people to make change around this disease, and his life is making a real impact. So that is a wonderful thing. It's hard, but it's a wonderful thing.
For listeners, and I get this question quite often, who are interested in helping the Chad Tough Foundation or even volunteering in some way, how can they do that?
Oh, there are so many ways. We wouldn't be where we are today without people. Our theme for this year is what can one person do? We truly believe that we are here today because of how many people out there are saying, what can I do to help? And they're doing something, whether it's hosting a lemonade stand or dyeing their hair orange. I mean, people are doing things that are making us, they're helping us to get where we are today. We also have a great group on Facebook. It's a group called the Chad Tough Champions. And that's a group where we engage people with volunteer opportunities, different ways that they can help. That's a very active group of over about 2,000 people. So if people really want to get engaged around this foundation, they can ask to become a member of that group.
We were talking about ways that everyone can help the foundation. Another good way, I think, is in a neat way, is purchasing Chad Tough gear from the MDen. Proceeds go to the foundation. And as it says on the Chad Tough website, by purchasing the Chad Tough gear, you help in raising awareness about DIPG, which really, as it says on the site, is as important as donations right now, isn't it, Tammi?
Oh, definitely. The MDen is one of our partner groups. They are involved in everything we do. We absolutely appreciate everything. They've been there since day one. They don't take, they run our store for us, and they send out the merchandise, don't even charge us for shipping. They are incredible. And yes, so the awareness, we've got Michigan fans all over this country and world. Mm-hmm. And when they're wearing a Chad Tough shirt or a Chad Tough hat, or anything, people ask, what does that mean? You share the story, and they go to the website, and we see this happen all the time. We've got this wonderful donation from CR Adrian of a Chad Tough car, and I drive that around. And we were just in Indiana this weekend for our boys baseball, and people stopping me and asking me, what is this? And then I keep brochures in the car, and we talk about it, and they say, oh my goodness, I want to help, and is there a way I could get involved and give them the brochure? And I mean, that's huge. People don't, that's how you're going to teach more people about what this disease is. So yes, wearing the gear and, having Michigan fans all over supporting Chad Tough that way, that's a wonderful thing.
And we know the Chad Tough Foundation has events and fundraisers throughout the year. Can you talk about some of those, Tammi?
Oh yeah, our upcoming one is something that would be fantastic to get, all Michigan fans involved in. We have a race on September 29th. But the good thing is you do not have to live here. We have a race that, starts in Saline, and we'll have about 1,200 people on site. But we have a virtual race where we invite people to run with us from all over the country. And our goal every year is to have at least one runner in every state. And we've done that the last 2 years. You'll get your shirt, you'll get your bib. You race with us. You can do it on your own timetable. You send us your pictures, and we post kind of a gallery of everyone that's racing with us from around the country. It's a wonderful way to make an impact. Again, wearing your shirt, running around, people saying, what is that about? It's spreading awareness. And it's a great shirt, too. The MDen, it's a dry fit shirt. And if you're thinking about getting a shirt, then the great part is race, join the race. Do our Run Tough for Chad Tough event. You'll get a wonderful dry fit shirt and can be part of us the event on September 29th.
Well, there are many ways, as we've discussed, joining the fight, raising awareness about DIPG, volunteering your time, and donations. And for a lot of people, especially that are spread out in the country, that are Michigan fans, or anyone listening, the easiest way to do that, donations, is to visit www.chadtough.org. And it's very simple. Click on donations, and that's a neat and easy way to help too, isn't it, Tammi?
It is. That's a great way. Every little bit helps. So, and we're grateful for everyone's involvement and everyone's contribution, so for sure.
Well, Tammi, how proud are you and Jason and the family of what the Chad Tough Foundation has accomplished in really just a short period of time?
Well, honestly, we are amazed, but we're not. We know God's had his hand in this from day one. We didn't get the result we wanted for Chad, but it was a result that we believe there is a reason, and this foundation shows what that reason is. The way things have happened so quickly, and I'm not going to say effortlessly because it does take a lot of effort, from a lot of people, but it's not twisting arms. People want to be involved, and that's when you know you're doing the right thing. And we know that Chad's making an impact, and that makes things a little easier.
Well, and another very easy way to help is prayers for the foundation, those who donate, the researchers and staff, most importantly, for the families and the children who are fighting for their lives. You can just pray for hope, and you can't put a price tag on that, but that cannot be underestimated, can it, Tammi?
No, there's no doubt. We see things every day. We call them Chad winks. We know he's with us, and we know there's a plan, and we know he's a big part of what will be one day a cure for this disease. We know that. So we're just doing his work while he's no longer here. And the way, I look at it, we've got our two boys, CJ and Tommy, here. They, family comes first, but this is Chad here on earth, this foundation. So we put the time in as we would be putting the time in with him if he were still here with us.
Well, that's a beautiful thought. Well, final question for you, Tammi. Do you believe in your heart and from everything that you've seen in the last 2 years that we're going to see rapid progress in the fight against DIPG and pediatric brain tumors in the near future?
I think we're already seeing progress. I know that. Rapid scares me a little. I don't want people to think that this thing is going to be cured overnight, because it's not. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We know that. But I am confident that there will be a cure. And I wouldn't have said that a few years ago. And researchers wouldn't have said that a few years ago. And we are confident. And they can see a light at the end of the tunnel where there was only darkness before. So that is a wonderful thing.
Well, we all pray the tide will turn soon. For more information, to learn what you can do to help in so many ways and raise awareness, visit www.chadtough.org. There's so much information on that site, Tammi. Wonderful site. Thank you so much for joining us today. And you're welcome on the show anytime. And if ever we can help in any way, please let us know.
Well, we appreciate you helping us to spread the word. And if there are alumni association groups or anything that want to hear more, we're always available to come and share. Michigan is family, and Michigan, we've got fans. There are Michigan fans all over the place, and you guys are the heart and soul, and are the ones that are going to help us to get the word out. So we're grateful.
So once again, Tammi, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Quick Hits is next as we wrap it up for another week here on The Michigan Man on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew. Thanks again to Tammi Carr for being our guest on this month's Extra. For more information on DIPG or to find out how you can help the Chad Tough Foundation, visit www.chadtough.org. That's www.chadtough.org. Next week, Steve Lorenz will be back for our monthly recruiting update. We'll take a week off after that, and then it's back to weekly programming as we start previewing the upcoming season, and it's going to be here before we know it. Our free show apps are available from the Google Play and iTunes stores. You can also hear us on Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, iHeart, and Wolverine Sports Radio. Make sure you're ready for the fast-approaching season. Get one of our free apps and join us each week for the latest news on our Wolverines. That will do it for another show. I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. Have a great Wolverine week, everyone. Until next time, take care, and as always, go blue. Thanks for joining us today on The Michigan Man, here on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew. Our listener lines are open 24/7 for your calls at 313-263-4842. That's 313-263-4842. Or email us at themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. That's themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. The Michigan Man Podcast is produced at the studios of Robin Lynn Productions, Allen Park, Michigan, and is not affiliated with the University of Michigan. Go Blue!